Welcome back to your mat. Thank you for joining me today. I'm just going to do a little organic movement today. Probably have a strap and have your blocks handy, and we'll just kind of see where we get to today. So you can stay sitting if you like, or if you'd like to begin to lay down. We will end up laying down here shortly. So just take your time as you settle in here for a moment. If you're sitting, whatever's comfortable for you that allows you to settle into your nice neutral or mountain spine, or begin to lay down, coming in from your side. Let the body settle. Settle into the body, noticing any sensations. Is there any little movements that will help you ease in, that will make you feel a little bit better? Once the body is settled and supported, close your eyes and begin to draw into your body, into your breath. Notice if you're holding tension anywhere in your body, especially into the belly. Can you let your belly go? Just allowing that nice, easy breath to flow through your body, visualizing the movement down to the deep into the belly as you feel the rise and the fall as you breathe. Letting your breath bring you back to your inner essence. Yoga is not a workout, it is a work-in. And this is the point of spiritual practice, to make us teachable, to open up our hearts and focus our awareness so that we can know what we already know and be who we already are. Just following the in and out of the breath. Imagine the breath flowing all the way down into the feet, all the way out through your arms, and up through the crown of the head. Just feel the breath within your body. To create some small movement of the body. Remember, stay attentive to your breath. Always noting what's happening with your breath so you can really make this practice what you need today. So if you're sitting, take your time, beginning to lay down. If you're laying down and you stretch your legs out, begin to draw your feet back to the floor with the knees bent. Take in a few breaths. Just let the body settle. Finding your neutral spine. Can you maintain your mountain spine as you move through your class today? Beginning to strengthen the deep spinal muscles that will allow your core to get stronger, which will begin to create better movement with your body. Learning how to use your body in the way it was meant to be used. As you continue to focus on the breath, just begin to gently rock the head side to side. Bring awareness to the upper body, how you're feeling through the neck, into the shoulders, work your way down your arms. Noticing if you need to keep attention on any of these areas. And then bring the head back to center. And then very softly rock the legs, or rock across the pelvis. Get nice and small to start. Just bring your awareness down to the low back, through the pelvis, into the hip joints. And even how grounded you feel through your feet. Can you feel the connection of the four corners of both feet? You feel evenness into each feet. Just begin awareness of your body. What is happening today? No expectations. Just be present in what your body is telling you. Remembering your body is your inner teacher. Listening to the sensations. Pain is a signal that something is not right. It's not something to work through. So honor yourself. Be present. Stay present. Even in these trying times, can you stay present? Let your breath guide you. Take a couple more breaths. And then begin to come back to center as you begin to draw the legs in towards your chest. Taking your time. Can you maintain your neutral spine? Do you need to support the legs by sliding your hands behind your thighs? And then gently draw the legs a little closer into the body as you allow your back to lengthen into the floor, feeling completely supported from the pelvis through the lumbar spine, up through the shoulder girdle. just noticing. And we'll begin to massage the spine. There's a little rocking side to side. Keeping the motion small. Remember, you want to work from your strong center. You're never throwing your body around. Can you initiate the movements from deep within? If you'd like, some small circles around your pelvis. And remember, anything that doesn't feel right is something you shouldn't be doing. Changing your direction. As you come back through center, keeping the legs drawn in, we'll come into child's pose. So bring your arms to the inner lines of your legs. Resist your legs into your arms as you begin to resist the opening of the hips, working from the inner lines of the legs. Let the shoulders again relax down into the floor. Can you find the neutral spine? A little bit more forward on the pelvis, so you're moving more towards your tailbone. Allowing the low back to gently rise away from the floor, coming into its neutral curve. Gentle rocking here, a little different load through the inner line into the deep groins. And then begin to slowly close the legs. You're going to bring your hands up to your knees, fingers towards your toes. Create your resistance of your legs into your hands, settling your neutral mountain spine, and then we're going to start some rotations of the femurs and the hip joints. So you begin to resist your legs down the midline, opening them out to the side, drawing them back up and together. So again, resisting legs to hands, hands to legs. This is a very small motion. Can you maintain your neutral spine as you create this to strengthen your strong center? Or would it feel better for you today to make it a little bit more relaxed? Then we're going to change your direction, opening out to the side, draw the legs down, bring them together and up. Or would you like to let the pelvis gently rotate with this action, creating softening for your back, soft movement? And then as you come back through center, we're going to keep the right hand on the right leg, thoughtfully placing your left foot to the floor with the knee bent. Slide your right hand behind the leg, gently rotate the leg outward, draw it gently up, and we'll open up through the left leg into our asymmetrical bound ankle. And then again, any of those little micro changes that feel good, a little different positioning to the left leg on the floor, or even how you're working with the right leg in the hip joint, just noticing what feels good. Take a couple more breaths. Then we're going to rotate back in on that left leg. And then take your time, externally rotate the right leg, crossing your ankle over your thigh. And release the right arm, soften into the body. Now create a little resistance to ankle to thigh as you begin to settle into your neutral spine. And then start just a little gentle rocking as you bring more awareness to the right outer hip. What is your body telling you? What do you need? A little soft motion here? Or do you want to begin to add a little bit more load, a little different stretch sensation by sliding your left foot closer in towards your bottom? You can just pull the heel away from the floor or begin to resist that left leg in towards the body, resisting the right hip open. Again, a little soft rocking here, maybe resisting more firmly in, noticing how each little thing you change, how it changes that sensation. Honor your body. Remember, this should feel good. It shouldn't be a strong sensation. Take a couple more breaths. And then very mindfully begin to release your left foot back to the floor with the knee bent. Begin to draw the right leg back in. Slide the hand behind the thigh, create a little bit of support. And then if your back's feeling good, extend your left leg out along the floor to get a little hip extension through the right side. And then gently guide the leg open to the right. And gently take the left hand as you guide across the midline. And nice and easy motion here. Thoughtful movement. Can you maintain your mountain spine? Remember, work where you need to today. Take those breaks. Honor your body. This should not be hard work. It should feel good. Next time you've headed out to the right, that'll be the last time. Begin to guide the leg back in. Start to line it up for your chair leg position. Remember, hip point, knee, center of your foot are lined up, nice and active. If you've already started to flatten your back here, remember low back curve needs to stay in that neutral shape. You can always bring your left foot back to the floor with the knee bent. So we're going to start to ease into the back line of the leg by beginning to resist the straightening and the bending of the leg. Remember, this action comes from how the muscles pull on your joints, not by how you throw your leg around. So I'm visualizing I'm gluing my foot into the ceiling as I move from my femur, gently resisting it in towards my body to create the bend, and then gently pressing it away as I start to press my foot more firmly into the ceiling. Next time the leg is towards straight, if it feels good, a little internal, external rotation, a little pointing and flexing. Circles around the ankles, spreading the toes, changing your direction. And then begin to work the leg back to center. Remember, if you're already overly challenged here, make sure you have your left foot back to the floor with the knee bent. You can always come into the cross leg position or just thoughtfully place that right foot back to the floor with the knee bent. If you want to activate your core more, strengthening it a little bit more, activate your mountain pose here. Organize that right leg. Reach out through the heel, control the descent of the leg down to the floor. Hugging the leg muscles into the bone, strengthening your entire body. Are you still breathing? Once the right leg gets down, if your left leg's extended out, maintain your core as you let your legs gently rotate open, soften into the feet. Take some deep belly breath here, little recovery breaths, deep breathing. Flex your feet, rotate your legs back to neutral, press down to the right leg as you bring your left foot back to the floor, press on the left foot to bring your right foot back to the floor. Keep some pressure and activity through the legs into the feet as you gently rock, and letting the hip flexors go. So continuing that deep breath, softening through the hip flexors, releasing into the upper thighs. Take a couple more breaths, and then we're going to begin to draw the legs in towards the chest again. Let the core shut down, just relaxing, breathing. Remember, if the legs are feeling too heavy and they're pulling away from the body, you can create a little support with hands behind the thighs. Take a couple more breaths. And then bring the right hand up, or left hand up to the left knee. Begin to thoughtfully place your right foot back to the floor with the knee bent. We'll come into the asymmetrical bound angle, so sliding left hand behind the thigh. Externally rotate the left leg, gently draw it upward. Then begin to flex the right foot as you thoughtfully rotate externally on the right leg. And start to notice the inner lines of both legs. Notice if you're still neutral through the spine. How does the sensation feel? Would you like to make micro changes to get a little different sensations by how you position the right leg on the floor, or how you're working with the left femur and the hip joint? Just noticing what feels good. Are you still breathing? Are you still present? Quiet the mind, come back to the breath, come back to the sensations that are happening with your movement. Let your inner body teach you. It is your guide. Take a couple more breaths. Then begin to rotate back in on the right leg, rotate back in on the left hand leg. Left hand, left knee. You can keep your right foot on the floor with the knee bent to start to actively extend it out. Find your mountain and then take your time. Gently rotate the leg open to the left, coming back through center, right leg across the midline. Next time you're heading across the midline, that'll be the last one. Begin to draw the left leg back in. Right foot comes back to the floor with the knee bent, and then you come into the cross leg position. You start a little bit of gentle rocking to bring your awareness now to the left side. How are you feeling through the left hip? Outer line of the leg. Would it feel good just to Create these little rocking actions. Do you want to start to draw that right foot closer into your body? Do you want to pull the heel away from the floor or actively draw the right leg in, resisting left hip open? And all those little micro movements that feel good. Resisting leg more firmly into the body so you get a little deeper stretch. Remember, finding the soft sensation. Everything should feel good. Nothing strong. There should be no pain. Take your time. Thoughtfully release that right foot back to the floor with the knee bent. Begin to rotate back in on the left leg. Hand behind the thigh if you like. If you want to add on a little bit more, extend out through that right leg. Settle into mountain. Feel strong and supported as you organize that left leg into the chair leg position. And then take your time warming up the back line, resisting the straightening and bending. Easing in. Strongly resist. You may even start to shake. Remember, if you're pulling so tightly on the hamstrings and it's flattening your back, keep the action much smaller. It's more important to get your spine strong and organized. Your hamstrings will come after that. And next time that leg is towards straight, if it's feeling good, begin to internally, externally rotate. A little pointing and flexing. Circles around the ankle. Changing your direction. Now as you come back through center here, are you still in your strong mountain? Would you like to create a little more strengthening by organizing the body, organizing that left leg? Reach out through the heel, control the descent. Remember, you can come back, bringing that right foot back to the floor with the knee bent and try, or do you want to just come into the cross leg position? Or do you just want to place that left foot thoughtfully back to the floor with the knee bent? Okay, once that leg gets down, if you're feeling good, that core active, let the legs begin to rotate open, soften into the feet. Take those nice deep recovery breaths. Soften the belly, deep breathing. Now begin to flex your feet. Rotate your legs back to neutral. Press down to the left leg as you bring your right foot back to the floor with the knee bent. Press to the right foot as you bring your left foot back to the floor with the knee bent. Little gentle rocking. We'll come into the full bound angle, so begin to walk the inner edges of your feet into each other. Outer edges are pressing into the floor. Create your resistance as you let the hips open out to the side. And if your shoulders aren't bothering you today, bring your palms of your hands into your hip creases. Relax the shoulders into the floor, and then gently press the femurs away from your body down towards the end of the mat. You're not pressing the legs open to the floor. You're resisting down towards the end of the mat as you get some length for your low back. Remember, if this bothers your shoulders, you don't need to do it. So make sure what you're doing feels good. Can you breathe into your low back? Now as you begin to release the hand, did that relax into the hip joints a little bit more? Did your legs maybe rotate open a little bit more? Take a few more breaths. And then slowly close the legs, soles of the feet come back to the floor. And then you begin to ease your way over to your side. Taking a few moments on your side, organizing yourself into your chair position. Make sure you stack the pelvis. You want to be in a neutral spine here, so your strong center is working for you. Then when you're ready, press your top hand to the floor as you begin to extend the top leg away, easing yourself up. We're going to come over to table, and you're going to want to have your blocks handy at the front of your mat. We're going to work a little bit with the lunge today in my favorite little sequence of the moving lunge. So we're going to begin to come over to table. Begin stacking yourself up. Make sure you have space so you can take your arm out and a leg back without hitting anything that might be in your way at home. And start to line yourself up. Organize your table. Are your shoulders over your wrists? Are your hips over your knees? Are you shoulder width, hip width? And then once you get your visuals, begin to back the head up, find your mountain spine as you get the external rotation of the arms, feeling the shoulder blades engaging onto your back, drawing energy out to each knuckle of each finger, and then begin pressing firmly down into the shins, little hug and pull out of the legs. Feel the activation of the outer line of the legs into your glutes. Feel strong in your table. Breathe. This is baby plank pose. So you feel a zipping up of your core, but allowing yourself to still breathe. And then we'll move into the cat's breath. So remember, we're not doing force from the arms and the legs. It's how you create work from your core to move the spine. So on your exhalation, as the belly draws in, let your tail gently lengthen down towards the floor. As you begin to gently round through the upper back, resisting chin in towards your chest. And then as you inhale, as the belly fills with air, gently draw the tail back. Gently draw heart center forward, but keep a little resistance at chin to neck so you're not throwing your head around. Just gently rotating around the spine, following the breath. Exhaling, rounding towards the ceiling. Inhaling, gently drawing tail back, heart center forward. You're looking for length in your spine, not compression, so this should not be painful. Only work in the range that feels good, and then you can move with ease. Now, as you finish this next cycle of the breath, begin to return to your neutral spine. We're going to come into child's pose again. This time it will be a little bit more load than it was when we did it on the back. So let your hips begin to rotate open. Knees moving towards the outer edges of your mat. Big toes moving in towards each other. Keep resistance of that external rotation of the arms. Legs are actively resisting here. As you use your arms, begin to draw the pelvis back. Making sure it's comfortable for the hips, for the knees. Spine is long. Make sure you can breathe. Can you maybe begin to release your forehead down to the floor? If you're creating a rounding of your back or hanging in your neck, make sure you fold your arms underneath your head and let everything get soft and heavy towards the floor. Breathing deep into the hip joints, into your spine. Take your time, begin to extend the arms back out. Get that external rotation, begin to lift your body up. Can you find your mountain pose? And then resist with the arms, using the legs to carry the pelvis back forward. Then begin to line your table back up. Remember, after your visual checks to make sure everything's lined up correctly, back your head up so you can start to settle the spine back into mountain. So now we're going to warm up the feet a little bit and come into bird dog to strengthen the core. Remember, work where you need to. There's no point of forcing anything here. So when you're ready, can you maintain mountain as you begin to extend back through the right leg, getting the toes and the ball mound on the floor, hugging into the midline, hugging those thighs towards each other to level off the pelvis, and then pressing back into your heel. Start to feel that stretch working up the back of the leg from the ankle up through the calf muscles, maybe even into the hamstrings. Once the stretch eases up, gently rock forward and back. Waking up the foot a little bit more. Breathing. This can also be done from your forearms. So make sure you're honoring your shoulders and your wrists, or you can even pass on this and do something else that you like. Now come back through center. If it's comfortable for you, I want you to flip the foot over, spreading the toes out, ankle crease releasing down. And if your foot starts to cramp, flip it over right away. Opening up the front line of the leg. Now flip the foot back over. You can stay here firmly hugging into the midline as you work from plank, or would you like to hug the leg muscles in to lift that right leg up? So make sure you're still breathing, spine neutral. If you want to add on, slide your left arm out, pinky finger on the floor, arm is externally rotated, palm facing in. Again, you can stay there or begin to lift the arm up. Reaching out through the arm, extending back through the heel, Breathing. Now begin to tap that left pinky down. Pull the palm in, set the arm. Tap the right toes down, pull the femur forward. And then gently rocking through the pelvis, maybe drawing the pelvis back a little bit further to take some tension off the wrists and the shoulders. Just gently wagging side to side. And then begin to actively draw yourself back into your table. Do all your visuals, get active, lined up. Feel that mountain through your spine. Feel strong, engaged. Now we'll do that same sequence on the left side. So begin to draw the left leg back. Get that strong hug into the thighs so you're leveling off the pelvis. Then pressing actively back through the arms as you release the heel back, opening up the back line, feeling a stretch around the low ankle, into your calf muscles, working up the leg, breathing. And once that stretch eases up a little bit, actively rocking forward and back through the foot. Back to center here. Hug your thighs into the midline. You can stay here in a strong plank pose or begin to lift the left leg up, hugging into the midline, pressing that foot as if you're pressing it into the wall behind you. Then you can extend the right arm out. Pinky finger down, palm in. Remember, if there's a lot of movement, you start to fall apart. Go back to where you can maintain. Maybe lifting the right arm up. Reach out to the right arm, back to the left leg. Strong hug in. Make sure you're gazing down. The minute you start to lift your head and look up towards your fingers, you're going to lose your mountain spine, and you want to work from your strong center here. Now begin to tap that right pinky down, pull the palm in set, tap the left toes down, pull the femur forward. You can gently release pelvis back, take load off your wrists and your shoulders, just rocking your tail. And then you can choose here. Do you want to go into a traditional child's pose with the legs together? Do you want to let the hips open for the wider leg child's pose? Or do you want to move through a plank position into a down dog? So honor your body where you are today. Maybe even walking the dog a little bit as you bend one knee, firmly pressing heel down. Remember, if the shoulders and wrists are not happy, down dog is not your friend here. If you've lost your neutral spine, again, down dog is not helpful for you. So take a couple more breaths in whatever position you've picked. If you've chosen down dog, begin to resist back into plank. And then very thoughtfully, either one knee down at a time, or can you bring both knees down to the floor. And then you're going to get your blocks. So if you're in child's pose, begin to work your way forward. Get your blocks. Open up as much as you need to in your extended table pose so you can begin to step your right leg forward. We're going to come into low lunge this time. So as you start to step the right leg forward, get the hug in, open a little bit more beyond that 90-degree angle. Then as you continue to hug in, begin to glide forward through the pelvis, hugging into the midline. Remember, you want to be opening away from the leg. That's going to give you more stretch on those left psoas muscles, attachments. Make sure your knee is more lined up over your ankle. You can have your knee slightly forward of your ankle here, but it really doesn't add much here. So nice hug into the midline, nice openness. Maybe hands come away. Keep the hug in. You want your low back soft and neutral. If you want to work a little bit harder, you can inhale, arms up into crescent. As you exhale, we're going to begin to transition into wide leg forward fold. So you're going to start to curl your back toes under, begin to press back through the heel. Right hand with the block comes into the right side, right inner right foot. Begin to externally rotate your left leg. Begin to walk your way to center. Then pick up the front of your right foot, internally rotate. Now take a moment, make sure you line your feet up. Big toes and heels, outer edge nice and straight. Nice halfway forward fold. So nice hug into the midline of the thighs, pressing out through the outer edge of the feet. backing the body up, stacking the blocks as high as you need to so that you can come into neutral. It's not about how low can you go. It's about, can I maintain my neutral spine as I work into the inner lines of my legs. So nice, easy breath. Take a couple more breaths. This is kind of a resting pose, so it should feel good. And then we're going to start to walk towards our left leg. So you're going to get your blocks. You're going to start to walk towards your left foot. Begin to pick up the front of your left foot, externally rotate. Pick up the heel of your right leg as you internally rotate. Hug into the midline. Left hand to the outside of the left leg. Then begin to pull your energy back so you can release that right leg back down to the floor. Start to hinge open a little bit more. Did you level off your pelvis with your hug in? So did you need to widen the legs a little bit? And then can you resist the glide forward? Remember, neutral, hugging into the midline. You don't want to be hanging in the hip joints. You want to find that softness in the low back. So hands can stay on the blocks. You can rest them on your left leg. Or would you like to work a little harder by coming into crescent pose? Breathing into the right psoas attachments from your upper inner thigh all the way through the pelvis to each attachment at your lumbar disc and lumbar vertebrae, working its way up to the low rib where it joins your diaphragm. Breathing into this space. So exhale, arms down. We're going to transition to that halfway forward fold again. So begin to gently hinge back, open up. Left hand inside of your left leg. Curl your right toes under. Begin to lift into the higher lunge. And then when you're ready, as you start to walk through the center, tip up onto the heel of the left leg. Internally rotate, externally rotate the right leg. And then take a moment. Where did you end up in space? Line your feet up. Big toes and heels. Outer edge working with the straight edge of your mat. Open up into that nice halfway up shape. And now we're going to do a very small motion. So you're going to gently turn the pelvis towards the right. That's going to deepen that stretch through that left side of the inner line of the leg. And then rotate your pelvis back to center and gently rotate to the left. So you're working from the pelvis. Let the spine gently follow. So it's a very small twist. Should feel good through the inner line of the legs. Again, come up as high as you need to. It's all about neutral. And if you're looking up at me, you may want to begin to drop your head down into that neutral mountain spine. Now this time, we're going to walk back to the right and we're going to stay in the high lunge. So begin to take your blocks towards your right foot. Pick up your left heel, begin to internally rotate the left leg, pick up the front of your right foot as you externally rotate. Right hand to the outside of the right leg. Take your time here as you hug in. Settle into the bend of the right leg. Again, widening out as much as you need to into your high lunge. Make sure you're pressing that heel in towards your body instead of down towards the floor. You don't want to overextend your Achilles tendon. And also, the more stacked you can get your foot up on the ball mound in the heel, the more active you are, the stronger your pose becomes. So again, if you're feeling strong, hands can come up and rest. I like to bring the backs of my hands to my legs because I tend to press down too much. So maybe you're opening away from that right leg. Make sure there's no compression in your spine. You can also open into crescent. As you exhale, begin to bring the hands back down to the blocks. We're going to come into that halfway position again. So right hand side, right foot. Externally rotate the left leg. Start to walk to center. Pick up the right front of the right foot. Internally rotate. Line yourself up. So this time, we are going to do a side lunge. So you're going to actively begin to sit back as you lean towards that right leg, pulling the pelvis back so you start to stack your knee over your ankle. And then you're going to resist with that left leg as you press firmly into the ground to begin to straighten the right leg. And then you can go to the left. If anything here bothers your knees, or you're not able to stack the knee back over your ankle, you're better off doing something in that wide leg position instead of this. So remember, honor your body. strongly resisting to strengthen as you change sides. Next time you're heading to the left, that'll be the last one. Come back into that wide leg position. Now, as you come back into that halfway lifted position, would you like to begin to resist into a little more of a forward fold so that elbows begin to fold in towards your body. Spine stays in mountain. You can also release the hands down to the floor for a little bit here. As you inhale, begin to lift back up, finding that halfway up position. Find your blocks. We're going to walk to the left for high lunge. So begin to walk your blocks towards your left foot. Start to pick up the front of your left foot to externally rotate. Begin to pick up your right heel to internally rotate. Release left foot. Begin to resist into the bend of your left leg. Coming back into your lunge. Heart is open. Keeping that hug in, no compression in the hip joint, so widen the legs out appropriately for you. Maybe bring your hands up to the left thigh, open the heart. Remember, you're opening away from your left leg without compression in your lumbar spine. If you're feeling strong, you can come into crescent by lifting the arms up. Make sure you found that external rotation. Shoulders are not reaching up towards your ears. You're just rotating the arms with the shoulders in that neutral position on your back. Back the head up. Find that neutral spine. Now as you exhale, begin to release the arms back down to the block. We're going to walk around one more time. So left hand inside left foot. Begin to externally rotate your right leg. Pick up the front of your left foot to internally rotate. Take a moment, line yourself up. Find that nice aligned feet, big toes and heels, outer edges nice and straight. Come halfway up, wherever that is for you. Remember, it's about neutral spine. Legs active, a little more energy to the outer line of the leg, but keep your thighs hugging in. And then we'll do that side lunge again. So begin to resist yourself to the left. Bottom pulls back to pull the knee back over your ankle. Firmly resist into the right leg to straighten the left, and then gently go to the right. Taking your time, linger. You don't have to move at all here. You can just stay on one side for a while, and then ease to the other. Work what's appropriate for you. You can also just rest in that wide leg forward fold. Next time we're heading to the right. That'll be the last one. Take your time. We're going to walk to that right leg lunge. So start to walk your blocks towards your right foot. Begin to pick up the front of your right foot to externally rotate. Pick up the heel of your left leg to externally rotate. So now we're going to add a little load into the hamstrings with pyramid pose. So I'm going to walk my blocks back a little bit. As I get my hug in, I'm going to begin to pull that right leg straight, lifting up as much as I need to. Again, hugging into the midline, maybe even hinging forward. Remember, you want to keep the hug in. You want your back neutral here. Again, you can pass on this if you like. If you'd rather come down into table and rest in child's pose or a down dog. Take a couple more breaths. And then we're going to change sides. We're not going to do that halfway around again. So we're going to resist into the bend of the right leg. Pull that left femur forward to release your left leg down. Step right leg back. Take your time, left leg steps forward. Hug into the midline here. Marry into your leg with your arm. And then curl your right toes under, press into your high lunge. Take a couple breaths. Start to hinge more open as you begin to resist the straightening of the left leg. Keep that nice hug in. Your foot should be nice and squared. You don't want to be sickling the heel out. Remember, appropriate load for your hamstrings, maybe hinging forward a little bit more. Keeping your head lined up. Are you still breathing? Are you still with me? Is everybody doing okay? Take those breaks. Honor yourself. Take a couple more breaths. you've hinged more, come out of the hinge, resist into the bend of the left leg to come back through your lunge. Then begin to pull the pelvis back, so you begin to pull that right femur forward to control the descent to the right leg. Step left leg back. You can move your blocks out of the way. Coming back into table if you like, maybe shaking your tail a little bit. Do you want to go into a child's pose of your choice, or you're going to slowly transition into plank pose to resist into your down dog? In any wiggly action that feels good here, just really listening to your body. And remember, dog is optional. If your shoulders and wrists are a problem, if you're still working on your strengthening, don't bother with down dog. Now, if you've chosen dog, take your time, resist back into your plank, and either bring one knee at a time or both knees. And then begin to come into child's pose. Let those hips open, big toes move towards each other, knees move towards the outer edge of the mat, create your resistance. Arms are in external rotation, resisting with the legs. Remember, this is about a long open spine so you can breathe. You don't want to be hanging in your cervical vertebrae. Shoulders are relaxing into that neutral position. Breathing deep into the spine, deep into the hips. Take a couple more breaths. And begin to extend the arms out. Get that external rotation. Lift your body up. Find mountain. Remember, you're resisting with the arms, using your legs to carry yourself forward, and then walking the legs back in. Then we're going to come over to sitting for a moment. We're just going to kind of give those glutes a little massage. So as you sit down on your sit bones, feet out in front of you, hands behind you, get that external rotation, and then just gently roll across the pelvis. Across those sit bones, a little massage action for your strong working glutes. And then you can begin to come back through center. And we're going to take our time. We're going to come down onto our backs. So remember, coming in from your side. We're going to start to prepare for rest. So if you would like to have some socks back on, or a sweater, or find a blanket, have those ready, and then take your time. Settle onto your spine. How do you feel when you lay down? If there's any sensations in your spine that don't feel good, that's a clear indication of something that's not quite strong enough yet and aligned correctly. You're still overusing your spine. The spine should be pretty quiet in most things that we do. And you're working from those strong spinal muscles to engage the spine and keep it strong and aligned. So take a couple more breaths. Now begin to draw the right leg in towards your chest. Right hand, right knee. You can extend the left leg out. Take a couple breaths here, relaxing across the pelvis. And then we're going to come into a little twist. So you can bring your left hand across the right leg. Resist leg into your hand. Right arm opens out to the side. Hug thighs towards each other as you use your core to revolve towards the left. Pelvis is stacked. Spine is open. Shoulders are grounded. We're not forcing the knee to the floor. That usually ends up putting compression in your spine instead of space. And then maybe turning your head and looking out past your right fingers. Take a couple more breaths. Then begin to draw the head back up. Take your time. With resistance, use your core to rotate back onto the spine. Resettle into neutral, right hand, right leg. Gently draw left foot back to the floor, and then begin to release right foot. Resituate if you've lost neutral, and then press into the right foot, left leg comes in, left hand, left knee. If you'd like, extend that right leg out along the floor. Take a couple breaths, settle into mountain, and then we'll take right hand across left leg. Left arm can open out to the side, and then strongly resist your leg into your hand as you use your core to rotate towards the right. Opening up the left sideline. Remember, pelvis is stacked, spine neutral, not forcing the knee to the floor. Can you keep your femur lined up, knee and hip? Maybe turn your head and look out past your left shoulder. Nice deep breaths in your twist. couple more breaths. And then when you're ready, use your core to rotate back. When the head comes back to center, core rotates you back to center. Left hand, left leg. Right foot comes back to the floor with the knee bent. Thoughtfully place left foot down. Take a couple breaths, gently rock. Notice if there's any other movements that are going to make you feel better for final relaxation. So any wiggling. Would you like to bring your knees in towards your chest, rock and circle, maybe lazy frogs or happy babies? Maybe you're ready to come into bound angle, so you can bring your inner edges of your feet into each other, outer edges are pressing into the floor, create your resistance, feet to floor, as you begin to inner line of the leg, opening the hips. Take a couple more breaths. Inhale, inner line begins to close the legs. You can stay here, feet on the floor with the knees bent. You can begin to relax, your knees relax onto each other, broaden the feet for a constructive rest. Or would you like to actively extend one leg out at a time? Are you able to maintain your mountain without a lot of work? Then you can let the legs softly rotate open, arms open comfortably out to the side. Begin to relax the body. Feel supported by the earth beneath you. Closing your eyes and just settle on your breath, breathing into your body. Let the mind quiet, softening into the eyes, releasing tension across your forehead, softening through the jaw, relaxing your tongue, releasing into the throat, feeling supported with the shoulder blades on the floor. Let the heart relax. Notice if you're holding tension into the hands, can you let your hands gently relax? Are you still breathing into your belly? Can you soften into your belly? Gently releasing through your thighs, through the calves, and into your feet. Just stay with your breath. Notice if your mind starts to work. Give it a job. Bring it back to your breath. Remember, this is a skill that you can use all day long. If you start to feel anxious and out of control, close your eyes for a couple cycles and just follow the breath. I like to pick 2 words. I'm currently using let go. So as I inhale, I think let, and as I exhale, I think go. Let go. And just breathe. Let go. It's time to bring your attention back into this space. Feel the rise and fall of the belly as you breathe. With your next exhalation, feel your connection of your body to the earth beneath you. You can begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes as you bring more awareness back. And then when you're ready, bring your feet back to the floor with the knees bent. Settle there for a few breaths. Begin to stack yourself back up into your chair position, stacking your pelvis and your shoulders, backing your head up into your bottom arm. Breathing into the body. Do you feel aligned and strong? And then when you're ready to come to a comfortable sitting position, begin to press your top hand into the floor, As you begin to extend the top leg away, as you begin to ease yourself back, finding that nice, comfortable sitting posture, allowing you to settle into neutral, allowing you to breathe. If you'd like to join me in the arm circles, release your fingertips to the floor by your hips. Get a little external rotation of the arm. Nice aligned spine. As you inhale, draw energy into the body, feeling strong. As you exhale, release any negativity that you're feeling. Let it go. Inhale, drawing energy in. As you exhale, begin to bring your fingertips or palms together as you exhale your hands down to your heart. Yoga is not a workout. It is a work-in. And this is the point of spiritual practice, to make us teachable, to open up our hearts and focus our awareness so that we can know what we already know and be who we already are. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me on the mat today. Until we meet again, remember, I'm thinking about you and I miss you and I can't wait till we can be face to face again. Take care.